In class, he was just another student. Average grades, quiet personality, never the one others turned to for help. He had no hobbies, no stories to share. No games after school, no mischief. To others, he seemed like he had no interests at all. And people with no interests are often left alone. Through all of middle school, he didn't make a single friend. In high school, something changed. For the first time, he found something that stirred his heart: Yahoo, a 2-string Chinese violin. One day, he quietly joined a group of classmates talking about instruments. He spoke up, asking someone to bring him a pair of Dao strings. The others paused, confused. There was no such thing as Dao strings. But no one laughed. They gently explained there's no special string. Dao and Sao are just tones. He listened. He smiled. He didn't speak much. But standing there, just listening, he felt like he belonged.
In 1973, the tide of the Cultural Revolution swept through their quiet lives. His father was accused of a so-called nationalist officer, a counter-revolutionary. They dragged him into the Black Room, a place where screams were swallowed and dignity was stripped away. Whips, steel rods, pepper water, torture beyond reason. Days passed. Nights passed. Until finally, in utter despair, he threw himself upon a pickaxe head, piercing his own heart. The next day, a poster appeared at the mine. Counter-revolutionary Li, guilty, dead by suicide. For the family, it was more than a tragedy. It was the shattering of their entire world.
After his father's death, the weight of the world pressed down on him. He was still just a teenager, but grief, fear, and shame wrapped around his heart like chains. In the classroom, 50 students sat shoulder to shoulder, yet somehow he felt completely alone. It was as if he lived inside a glass box, close enough to hear them laugh, to see them smile, but always on the outside. He walked home alone, ate lunch alone. No one said a kind word. No one stood beside him. He began to question, am I still part of this world?
Then one day, a classmate spoke his father's name aloud, twisted with scorn, wrapped in rumor. The word suicide cut deeper than any blade. The shame surged. The pain erupted. Tears poured from his eyes. He stood. Grabbing a pencil knife, he shouted, "I'll fight you to the death." His voice cracked. His hands shook. A teacher rushed in, forced the boy to apologize. And slowly, the fire faded. He sat back down, trembling. That was the only time he ever stood up for his father, and for himself.
After that day, the school no longer mattered. What mattered now was survival. The mine gave him a job not out of kindness, but as a replacement for the father they had taken. At 17, Li Zhiqiang walked out of the classroom and into the earth. He put on the course uniform, strapped on a helmet, and stepped into a world of coal and silence. As the mine cart rumbled downward, light faded. Childhood faded. And deep underground, the boy disappeared, placed by a quiet man carrying the weight of a broken family.
The Cultural Revolution ended. His father's name was finally cleared. But the past could not be undone. His siblings grew up and left home. The burden lightened, just a little. He married, had children, took care of his aging mother. But joy never fully returned. Years of pain had etched deep scars into his soul. And then came the illness, liver disease. It grew worse with each season, swelling his body, stealing his strength. Still, he smiled. Still, he endured. He had come so far, but he had never truly healed.
On his deathbed, he longed for one thing: someone to say goodbye to. He sent his young son to call an old classmate, now a doctor at the local hospital. The man came. And when Li Ziqiang saw him, he reached out and held his hand with all the strength he had left. He didn't let go. And he cried. Not because of pain, but because, at last, he knew he had a friend. He had always yearned for kindness, and now, at the end, he had found it. He smiled. Full of sorrow. Full of peace.